Welcome back to a brand new episode of Bloore and Mandalore. I'm your host, Jeremy Bloore, and today I want to talk about the latest episode of Skeleton Crew, episode 6, Zero Friends Again. It kind of sounds like a history of my life. I'm lonely, somebody help me. No, I'm not. I really like this episode. I really enjoyed it so much. I think this episode perfectly captures what I consider to be the Star Wars DNA. Everything to do with this was just not only visually stunning, but I think it was so symbolic of the lessons that Star Wars has given us for the years and years that we've been able to enjoy it. From A New Hope to The Rise of Skywalker, although some may not like it, all of those movies have given us valuable lessons that we can transfer into our everyday life. And I think this was none other than spectacular. Bryce Dallas Howard was actually the director of this episode, and don't even get me started on how much I love Bryce Dallas Howard. She was one of the main directors for The Mandalorian. She's done a whole bunch of stuff with The Bad Batch, and I just think she has the best way to show the magic in Star Wars. And what other way to do it through the lens of these children who are learning the right and wrong? I mean, not only did we get to see Wim kind of learn about the X-Wings being the right guys, like the good guys versus the bad guys, and kind of getting it right and wrong, we get to see that all throughout this episode through our eyes, through how we see the characters and how they interact. I mean, a lot of this show has just been a massive roller coaster of highs and lows, and like all shows should be. But I think it's been for different reasons, not necessarily because of, like with The Acolyte, it can be really good episodes, like amazing fight scenes, and then really shit dialogue and just terrible direction and just writing, like it just sucked. Like so much of that sucked comparatively to this, where it's like the adventure changes. Yes, this was an adventure of the week type style. We get to see that Mandalorian kind of TV show aspect going into it, where it's like, oh, we've got to fix this going on the planet. I didn't mind that. I think this was the best character development for something that I need a season 2. All we're getting here, because we've got 2 more episodes left, all that we're getting here is not enough, and this episode proved it completely. I want to split this up into 3 different categories, all right? So first of all, I want to talk about Jod, because it's kind of a smaller one. We didn't get that much this week. Like I think we only got not including credits, I think we only got like 20-something minutes, like 22 or something like that. It's not a lot. It's really, really not a lot. But get rid of the recap and the credits. You're not really getting a lot of information, but what we got in it was the most beautiful character development. So let's talk about the first one with Jod. Then we're going to go into the kids. And then one of the most important parts of this episode, which is the symbolism. Look, I think this episode fired on every single cylinder. I'm absolutely obsessed with this show. I really hope you guys like it. I mean, not only has this show proven that we can get Star Wars in multiple different kind of, not facets, but multiple different genres. This is very much like a Stranger Things style of writing, and this show is just completely mirrors that. I love it. I really, really love it. I want to see more shows like this in Star Wars. I hope you guys do. So let's get started. Let's get into Jod Na Wood, Captain Silvo, or, what's his name? Like Dash Rendar, or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know.
Move along.
Ooh, yeah. Part 1. I don't really care. This dude is a mischievous manipulator. And I think this show just this episode really proved it so much. Also, do a shot every time I fucking say episode. I've been having that problem with every single episode of this show. I can't find another word that I want to use. It's the first one that pops up into mind. Look, Jod is a master manipulator. He's the kind of guy that can work his way through any environment through his mouth. Look, trust me, I know how to do that one. Yeah, in a different way. I can't talk. I can let's just say they call me Dyson. Look, Jod is a really cool character. Yes, a lot of people are like, he's the Han Solo of Jedi. I talked about it a long time. He's the Indiana Jones. He knows every single way to get out of every single situation. He's the kind of dude that is resourceful. He is, honestly, courageous, and that's what kind of helps in a lot of the stuff. But we get to see him pop out. There was no time at all. He popped out of the sewer in a kind of I really liked that it was just hidden but connected to the sewer. like the sewer drains the whole time. I kind of like that. I think it's a little bit stupid of the casino people that they just didn't see it. They didn't touch it. Maybe they did. I didn't need them to go into it, which is one of the best things about this episode. Is it just didn't dwell on the wrong things. Yes, we stayed on the same planet, but it didn't dwell on the wrong things. So we got to see Jod, and he kind of, he came out of this sewer and he had all of this gold on. He was super, super happy. He was super excited. Absolutely. I mean, why the fuck wouldn't you be? He just found all of the treasure from one of the old greatest pirates of all fucking time. Like, literally of all time. He's the GOAT. The GOAT! So he's just found the GOAT pirate stash, and then he looks up and he sees all of Brutus's crew waiting there for him, and all of the staff and that random bounty hunter. I think it was like Pigeon, Pingal. I don't know. Anyway, it's the voice of the lady who did Brave, which is kind of cool. So we kind of get to see them doing all that kind of stuff. Look, I'm not going to lie. I didn't actually like the whole Jod side of everything. I think it was a little bit bullshit, mainly because this one wanted to focus so heavily on the kids, and it was necessary. This whole character development was needed. We knew this was going to come. Like, obviously, there have been a couple of slow moments in all of the episodes where it needed character development, but this episode was just a big chunk of it. For good reason. So Jod, he goes back to the ship. I like that they didn't really stay on it too much. Yeah, okay, he tried to show, hey, KB, fight. They've learnt. They're not just dumb pirates. These guys are really, really smart. I choked on air. I just choked on air. Who does that? So like, these guys are not dumb pirates. Obviously, he's gotten away from them before. They're not letting him get away again. They just restrained KB straight away. Sorry, not KB. They restrained SM33 straight away because, he's a bit of a badass, and we got to see him fighting them before. He's not going to they're not going to let him do that again. That's just stupid. So we get to see SM33 just pop straight away. Jod taken away. He can't manipulate his way out of this situation. But then he goes back to the ship. Now, the ship was, honestly, it was a little bit underwhelming. I thought that Brutus was going to be a much better villain than what he has been so far. That's one of the biggest things that I've kind of been a little bit disappointed about. Mainly because he looks so cool. Like, Brutus is the coolest character design of any of the characters that we've seen in Skeleton Crew so far. Like, I don't think that I have seen any other character that has been as, practically as cool as this one. You've got the other dude who wakes up. I don't know, not wakes up. We see him at the start. He's that dude who, I think it was in the sequels when he opens up the grate. It was actually, I think it was Mark Hamill who did the voice for that as well. But he opens up dude, don't worry about that, dude. It's like that guy. He reminds me of like a surfer dude. You know what I mean? And he's like, hey, we got Captain Silvo. And they're like, whoa. Bruce is there, look at this guy. What a knob, And he didn't say that, but I wish he did. So basically they give him the whole time, and the guy's like, the girl next to him, I'm a female police officer. The girl there's like, give him a chance. Give him a chance, Bruce. You forgot about the rule. That was very much like Pirates of the Caribbean. Parlay. I thought he was going to say something like parlay, which would have been funny. It would have been funny, very pirate-esque. Basically, Jod, Captain Silvo, whatever whatever. I don't care. I'm just going to say Jod from now on, or Silvo, depending on the situation that he's in. Silvo, he was there, and he was just manipulating these guys, being like, "Aren't we all hungry?" I don't know why they all sound the same. I can't really do. I can do impressions, but I get stuck on impressions, And they're like, "We're all hungry. We're all hungry." What a speech. You could have had have you all seen Braveheart? It's like, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom, Scotland. I love Scotland. I'm a massive fan of Scotland. Anyone in the comment section or anyone who's watching this video who's Scottish, put a Scottish flag down below. I love Scotland. Love Scotland. Look, I don't think I did that last episode. I don't think anyone's going to be from Scotland. I don't care, Scotland forever. So he kind of does that speech of, we're all hungry, and he talks about at Atten. Wow. Okay, so basically SM-33 is the one who has all the coordinates in his head. He's going to be the reason to get there. The kids have got KB. That's the reason why they're going to get there. Obviously, it's gearing up for a big, explosion of warfare when it comes to the kids getting there, the pirates getting there at the same time, most likely, or even late. It doesn't really matter. They're all going to meet up. Maybe Jod's going to have a little bit of a turncoat. I don't know. I think this episode kind of shocked me a little bit because we've been seeing so much of him being really good with the kids. Great with the kids in so many different regards. Like, genuinely a really, really good guy. He's giving us that whole, I'm taking care of you, but I know what I want. But lately, it's kind of changed. I don't know if this guy's going to turn as much as I thought he would before. I think we're going to see Jod kind of going through the rest of these episodes as in like everything that he's wanted. And I like that. Finally, characters that don't change. We get to see similar writing. Maybe that's something for a season 2. Maybe Captain Silvo is going to be the new captain of the ship again. Maybe Brutus is going to be the first mate. I'm spraying the camera. I don't know if you guys have seen that. So I don't know if Brutus is going to be the first mate again and Silvo's going to come back up because he's given them access to all of the riches in the world. I like that they had the different kind of like connections with the characters, but it was too late. I don't know how they're so easily manipulated. It's like, all right, Silvo, I'll bite. Why? Why are you so dumb? He's obviously betrayed every single one of you, and now that he's in front of you about to die, he's promising you the world. He promised me the world, but he didn't even give me an atlas. What I've done. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of, it's just that really cheesy, really, really cheesy early 2000s kind of Transformers movie shit. I don't buy it. I don't buy all that kind of stuff. Again, it wasn't really my favorite. They were like, oh, we're going to send you to there, to like there. Look, that's kind of like the walk the plank. They gave the classic pirate experience. I really liked the practical effects and even the CGI in this. Like that whole hourglass thing was really, really cool. I like seeing all of these new aliens and old aliens that we've seen in so many other projects. But all of this just hasn't really excited me until we get to the kids. So let's break that. Let's leave Silvo and Brutus behind and all of their like pirate scum. We know they're on their way. Let's go to the kids.
Oh, hello, mate. Oh, bloody hell, it's me, part 2.
So the kids are on, Lanupa. Or, Death World, Battle Planet, all these cool names, Skull Ridge Mountain. But, the kids are locked there. They've basically, this kind of turned up right after they hit down on that seat and they went down into those big tunnels. I really liked that. I liked that there wasn't a break in between because I thought, I think it's so important that we don't get that break in between characters as much for the kids as much as we do Jod. I would have been happy if it's like we just see him getting picked up and be like, oh shit. And then he's on the brig. You know what I mean? Like then he's on that ship and then gone. But it's really important for these kids that we see every aspect of their journey because we're seeing the growth of these characters from the very start. Finally, in the final 3 episodes of this show, we get to see all of the seeds that were planted at the start of the show grow to be, at least seedlings in this episode. At the earlier parts of it, we got to see, all of them slowly learning about each other and being really confused about relationships between each other. And now we're getting to the point of, well, all right, this is kind of playing out. But in a little bit of a different way. KB kind of came out and just started firing. Like, she didn't like Fern. I don't know why. Yes, sure, they're kids. They don't know how to talk. They don't know really, they really don't know what the hell's going on. But these kids, they're there and they're just like, oh, well, and I don't like you, Fern. You're a poo-poo stinky butt. And Fern's there like, oh, what the fuck? Basically, KB she had a corroded thing. I don't know why she couldn't just fucking say something. But again, they're kids. I'll leave them be. So KB had that whole like weird corrosion on her thing from the spars and so on before. That's what Fern was so worried about before. Like she showed concern. Fern and Neil split up with to go on a climb up and reach the ship, the Onyx Cinder, and then Wim and KB went together. Again, I think this show is just perfect. I'll talk about the symbolism later, but I think this show has been a perfect description of learning with these kids. I mean, Fern, I think she is one of the most capable leaders in all of this show. I think we get to finally see them exploring the different roles that they're going to have in the crew, and we definitely get to see them strengthen as a crew in this episode. It's the first time that we see Wim and Neil break up. Neil Nation. First time we get to see Neil and Wim kind of break up, and they're just not really the same dudes anymore. So they're not in the same pair. Fern and KB were always such a good dynamic pair, but it was very split off. The crew would never work. It was always Jod who was kind of forcing them to work together. This time, the two leaders kind of came up and showed their true ranks. Wim is, I think, one of the most fantastic leaders that we're going to see, and someone who really reminds me of Luke Skywalker. I mean, he's definitely one of the kids like Luke Skywalker who grew up somewhere so far away from everything that's been happening in the galaxy, and then now he's been thrust into this position of power, I guess, because he's not really in that great position right now, but he's at a point where we get to see, him kind of making the decisions that's going to influence all of the shit later on. And Fern is, she's always kind of been there. I really, really liked when they were climbing the ladder, and then we get to see Fern being more of an adaptive leader as well. Neil is, I don't know, you guys have definitely seen this episode. This is not really something that I have to kind of fucking teach you guys. But, Neil, he was obviously struggling, and Fern, she looks at it and she goes, well, okay, I'll just get this rope and I'll tie it up because, he's not the same. Not everyone is the same. Not everyone's as capable as Fern is. I don't think Fern's as capable as what she puts out. And she's kind of resonating a lot with that. She's, resonating big time, which is one of the greatest things about Fern and this combo. I really, really liked it. Neil, I like that he didn't have too much in this because it was definitely more centered around the two girls this episode. I guess, okay, Wim did have a lot. Anyways, Wim and KB were following those little, I liked it. They're like the hermit crabs with all of the mechanic pieces on them. I really like that Wim kind of got a little bit more of an experience with X-Wings. I know that was a small part of it, but when the pirates were escaping, all of the X-Wings came flying in and they started destroying all of the stuff and obviously did some very, very bad damage onto the ship, which I liked. They continued that through hyperspace. They got out of it. I don't know how. I really don't know how, but they got out of hyperspace and they showed that the same damage was there. But Wim got to see that whole, this is the good guy. I know he made a comment later on being like, why am I always wrong about who's good and who's bad? I think that's important. I think that's really, really important because in the end, he is going to be the choice of good and bad. He is going to be the Jedi. Even KB was like, thanks, Jedi, after he fixed all the circuits. I think that whole thing kind of I don't know, it gets to a point where it's it really brings you out. I don't know. Obviously, I liked, wow, Wim's seeing all the X-Wings and he's like, yeah, those guys are the good guys. See, look at that. That's amazing. And all the guys are like, oh yeah, I guess, maybe we've got to be friends with the Republic. But, KB, I didn't like that whole frying the circuits. Not only did it take me out because of the actual physics of it, I don't know if it's it looked like a hot torch that he was burning. Now say that was the point right there that they were burning on the torch, right? And then just goes, and he's got his finger like this. It's melting. I don't know if you guys have smelted metal before or even just held your hand over a candle or even waved your hand over something hot like the stove or the oven or whatever. That shit's hot. You need something hot to burn metal. And wiring, I would assume in space, it's just space metals. I really like the soundtrack. I know that's something that's a little bit weird, but I love that sound. Was so satisfying when it solidified as the material. Again, it's space stuff, but it's little stuff like that that I really think harms it. Any show that I'm watching, if it's like the actual physical aspect of it, that we get to see something similar in our world, obviously the real world, not the fucking Star Wars world, it really brings you out of it. So at that point, I was kind of like, what the fuck is this? But it gave us a beautiful lesson. I think KB, as much as she's been a powerhouse the whole time, she's stored so much information. She's just absolutely gunned everything to do with all of the, she studied the ship to be able to fly it at the end. She's done so much of this stuff that she's kind of been forgotten. And this was her episode to really, really shine. Not only did Wim take way too fucking long to refry her circuits or do whatever the fuck was needed, I think that whole aspect was a little bit unnecessary. I think they could have done that a little bit better. But I don't really care about that. I think the lesson of that was really, really cool to just kind of show us that, Wim is, and even if he's a little bit stupid and he makes all the wrong decisions all the time, he's a good dude. He's a really, really good dude, and he has the potential to save the day. I know, obviously, when he ignited the lightsaber, he did it upside down. He was a little bit stupid, but I really resonated with that. I think that's kind of why I enjoyed this episode so much. Is I resonated so much with this. For me, a lot of the times, I fail with fucking everything that I do. Everything that I do, I always fail at least once or twice. Like, I have to before I even get it set in my head. But once I do, I know everything and know how to do it. So Wim kind of reminded me of me at that point. And I really loved it. I was like, man, that kid, he's going to go places. I need him to go places. I need him to train as a Jedi. Hopefully, it would be so cool. I know, obviously, this is a little bit of a stretch. But I really, really hope that we get to see Cal Kestis take on Wim as a part of, the whole Mandalore Jedi training crew. I don't want him to go with the Republic. I think them being so shrouded in mystery and secrecy and all that kind of stuff, if there is a Jedi temple on that planet, that'd be so cool. That would be so cool. Maybe he could learn through all of the holocrons and so on. But I think it would be so much better to learn from someone like Cal Kestis and grow like that with someone who is, honestly, a far superior Jedi for someone who has been through a similar situation, finding what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong at a young age without really a master. Obviously, Wim's had his dad the whole time and Cal had his master the whole time up until the Clone Wars and Order 66. But, I think they represent each other so well. And if that is going to be Cal's new Padawan, and that was the introduction to live action, blow my mind how cool that is. So, obviously, we saw that in the trailer with the whole crab and they're flying over it and it's throwing a rock. I get that. We needed to see that at one point. It wasn't necessarily needed, but, I liked it. I think the action was really cool. I think it really reminded me of a stop motion animation. I don't know why. Maybe that might come out in the making of Skeleton Crew. Don't know. I really don't know. But that practical effect just it kind of came through the screen on that one. The way the mouth opened, it really reminded me of that of the crab thing in Bad Batch. When Omega's there in the ocean with the octopus, it really, really reminded me of that. Don't know why. Really don't know why. But it kind of was the same. Anyway, doesn't matter. Not the point. So, they get to do that thing, and then, Neil and Fern are up there, and they jump onto the ship. Fern's a badass. Neil is kind of learning his courage, and he's getting there. Sure, I get it. But Fern is a badass, taking down that ship and kind of cruising it around and basically saving the Onyx Cinder. The Onyx Cinder never would have been saved without Fern. I'm obsessed. I'm actually and genuinely obsessed. I love this kid. I think all of them are going to go so well. I think these guys are going to be the future of Star Wars. I understand why, Rey is meant to be and all that kind of stuff and all those main characters from the Skywalker saga. I just think these guys have so much more potential, and they've got such a strong foundation. So obviously they take it down and they meet us. We're kind of getting towards the end of the episode here, but they're all there and they're like, "Oh my God, we love you all so much," and they learnt the lesson of, hey, maybe everyone is different and we can't all be the same and do the same thing. I liked it. I really, really liked it. I know that kind of sounds cheesy and stupid, but I really liked it. I don't want I don't want any of you to think that this is not needed. Like, definitely remember in every single aspect of this that this is needed. Every part of it is needed. So when we get there, we see the Onyx Cinder. It's down. It's being, taken down by the whole thing. They've had their whole moment. I don't even need to go into that. I think it was beautiful, but I think the symbolism later means a lot more. So, the ship goes down and we see it being taken over and they're finding every single way. All of their lessons are coming up. I loved that. I really loved it. Neil, he already flew the ship before. Yes, he did really badly, but he flew the ship before. So he's going to be the one driving. KB has been looking at all of SM-33s. I guess they're all, she's a cyborg, he's a robot. Sure, it's the same kind of thing, right? So she's taking care of the engine. Fern is like making the executive decisions. And Wim, like usual, he's kind of taking the backseat. But he didn't really do too much. But I think, obviously, his lesson didn't really do much because he's like, oh my God, it's got too much indestructibleness. I love that. I thought that was really funny. But, Wim, I think he's necessary for what's later going to become the battle aspect. He's going to be the warrior of every single one of them. Sure, every warrior needs a leader, okay? Fern is going to be the leader of the crew, and I get that. But I think that Wim is going to be so necessary in the future. Not necessarily. I just fucking lost my words. I think he's going to be really necessary in the future for the crew. I think, he's going to kind of be like, we've got a Wim. Like the Hulk, and like, I've got an army. We've got a Hulk. It's like Wim's going to be the guy that saves them all in the end. But it wouldn't be without the quick and decisive actions of Fern. They click it away. And then out comes, it just goes, the coolest CGI, just, out comes the coolest ship design since the N1 Naboo starfighter. I love this camera. Since the M1 Naboo starfighter, we get to see some of the coolest CGI, awesome action, mixed in with amazing ship design. It looked really, really similar to like an old Mandalorian ship. Kind of like, oh man. It kind of looked like the Imperial, Palpatine's ship, where it was kind of like cone-shaped and it had the wings that like the I'm just doing the alarm. You know what I'm talking about? Like the ship that goes like, it goes up like that with the thing and then it just goes, and it kind of goes out like that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't even have to, I don't remember names that well. I don't remember names, so forgive me. Forgive me. Every single one of you, forgive me, please. And thank you. So, that ship, oh my God. I think that is the perfect tie into the symbolism. So let's get into the part 3 of this episode, symbolism.
Last part, guys. Hold on. We're nearly there, I promise. It's time for part 3.
Symbolism in this show is the most important aspect of anything to do with Star Wars. I think this show was the perfect description of learning from the old and getting new. Obviously, the Onyx Cinder was that physical symbolism of shedding its skin. Kind of like a snake that after, a long time, a way to heal their wounds and, fix all of their different diseases and ticks and remove it all is to just shed your skin and start fresh. They don't have Jod. They don't have anything. They don't have SM-33. They've just got the kids. And I'm not going to lie, I think they're stronger than ever. Not only is the ship beautiful after shedding that old skin, but it is the perfect description of what these kids are. These kids are new. These kids are new to Star Wars. They are the next generation. We're shedding that old baggage that we all had for every other show before that, if it's good or bad. We're shedding it all and we're becoming new Star Wars. Not only is this important for the characters, but I think it's important for us to look at. Now, obviously, it might seem a little bit deep, and if you don't want to watch something deep, it's probably going to be this is probably going to be the end of the episode, so feel free to click it off now. That's fine. But I think what you've got to realize is the importance of Star Wars is the lessons that it teaches us. The lessons that we learn through the people who are experiencing it in that galaxy far, far away. It's okay to start again. It's okay to lose everything and to regrow. I mean, if you're looking at it from a plant's perspective, you could cut a plant off at the bottom of the stem, only keeping the roots. That is the physical aspect of the plan. It will grow back bigger and better than ever. I want everyone to look at this as their Star Wars journey. Not only is this the most important thing to see when you're looking at the most negativity, like all this negative and just gruesome stuff that's online, people talking so much shit and just kind of ruining the idea of what Star Wars was. I hope that this show has the ability to shed all of that disgusting nastiness and grow into something that it was before. Everybody talks about how you have a Star Wars for your generations, but why can't it all be together? I think this show has perfectly encapsulated everything to do with the original trilogy, the magic of the prequels, and then also the height of the sequels. I think the cinematics in the sequels were far beyond anything that we've seen in the first two in the prequels or the original trilogy. We've seen everything to do with the magic of the prequels when it comes to the old Republic and the idea of the Jedi and the lessons that we learn. The original trilogy, the magic of actual physical performance, physical makeup, and just genuine character design. To learn from the mistakes. You know, I mean, a lot of the guys at Beyond the Dune Sea, they talk about, not a lot of the guys, Connor and Seth from Beyond the Dune Sea, they talk about Luke Skywalker in that moment throwing down his lightsaber. And that's the lesson. The lesson is to give in. The lesson is to grow and to not show anger, to not be violent, to allow them to feel the safety and warmth of your character and allow them to become good in themselves. Because the whole point of anything, if it's, therapy, if it's lessons or whatever, it's giving you the tools to grow yourself. And this show is perfect for it. I think because it came out of the blue, because it was something so brand new and just not really... It wasn't really expected. I think that's the best part of it. Because we get to see Star Wars through a different lens. We get to learn. We get to grow with these kids. And we get to shed our bad experiences. And I hope that these next 2 episodes blow everyone's minds away and we just get left with a beautiful sentiment and just allow ourselves to enjoy Star Wars without the harsh critics that everyone's been for the past however many years, since Disney's got it, really. I think this is the growth that we need, the show that we need, and I hope we get a second season. I don't see why we couldn't. I know that they're gearing up to get a second season. I definitely think that this could be something that we grow into the depths of Star Wars. If that's, Cal Kestis and his kind of line of people, so be it. Or even if it's on the Skywalker saga, they meet the Mandalorian, which is something they hinted to before. The Mandalorian talking about a pirate who was having kids. That was Skeleton Crew. I can guarantee it, that was Skeleton Crew. So, maybe it is the kids in the Mando universe, and maybe Jod does turn good and they can have those adventures together. A new Jedi, a new kind of... maybe not even a Jedi, a new way to look at the Force. It's something that excites me. This show has made me want to do so many videos. The moment I watch it is the moment I want to make a video for you guys. And that's one of the big things. I'm not actually doing a fan segment this week. Every week it's been super quiet. Not a lot of people want to kind of put their opinion out there because I've talked to a few people in the background and a lot of people have said how much they're fearful of showing that love to Disney. I'm not even kidding. I'm actually not even kidding. They're like, I don't want to show that much love to Disney because I don't think they deserve it after all of their fuck-ups in the sequels. I think that's the worst idea to look at. I think that's the worst way to look at anything to do with Star Wars. I think you can have so many amazing moments in any show, be that from Disney or George Lucas. He's passed on the torch. He's given us a brand new chance to enjoy something with a new fresh breath. Sure, it might not be exactly what was intended from the start, and maybe they fuck things up, and they definitely do. But I hope this show gives us the ability to see things as hopeful. Hope is everything to do with Star Wars. Hope is the reason why this whole genre exists. This franchise right in front of us exists. It's because of the hope that this show and the characters within it have given us. And this show has been nothing short of amazing. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know if you liked anything. Tell me if I got something wrong. Tell me what you think down below. I'd actually like to see kind of the fan segment as a little bit different from now on, as in like, I want to see what you guys think down below in the comment section so we can talk about it retroactively. Maybe you've had your opinions from watching other people's stuff. Maybe I've changed your mind on certain things, or maybe I've, completely ruined something. I don't really know, and honestly, I don't care. I just hope all of you are enjoying, and if you've watched this far, thank you. I've had so many people watching my content for really long periods of time. I haven't had as many views as what I've had at the peaks, but I've honestly been really, really enjoying seeing everyone actually watching it, and I haven't had a lot of dislikes, so I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. I just want to thank you again. Thank you for being amazing. This Christmas and New Year's, it's been fucking beautiful. We're coming up to a whole year of Bloore and Mandalore, something that, I never would have thought has existed. And it's here. I dove into this thinking, I dove into this thinking, well, I guess I can make a few videos and then see how it goes. And you guys have shown me so much love, so much support. Right now, I've got 176 subscribers giving me love all the time, and I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for all of the creators that have supported me, and genuinely supported me. I've got Beyond the Dune Sea, who are the foundations of this channel, Star Wars Sith 66, who is one of the pillars of support of this channel, non-stop, looking at my stuff, checking everything that I do, even if it's in the background, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate him and how important he is in the Star Wars community. We've got Star Wars Nerd 00, another pillar of this channel. I love that guy so much. He's got a really great channel, and he's got a really great support channel, which is Tales from Peridea, and he's even brought out a new gaming channel. I saw him. He did a video on Revenge of the Sith. It was actually so awesome. Gave me so much nostalgia. So go check out these guys. I could talk about so many. Actually, I want to talk about an upcoming creator, a genuine, incredible upcoming creator, Star Wars Cantina. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving his channel. He's done a bunch of unboxings. I think it's like the Galaxy unboxings. I love it. I think it's Star Wars Cantina 66, maybe. Oh my God. You know what? I'm gonna look this up, because I really don't want to get this wrong. I genuinely don't. I've had so many people actually talk to me about this guy right here, and he's been incredible. Like, genuinely, I think it was like only recently he started actually posting stuff, and I'm sorry for all of you for taking my time. The Galactic Cantina, my bad, I'm so sorry. The Galactic Cantina. So yeah, check out his channel. He's done some really, really cool unboxings there. Thank you to the community. Thank you to everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you've watched this far, I love you so much. If you have watched this far, gorilla, big fat heavy gorilla balls. Chuck in the comments down below, Harambe. Just Harambe, because I can't really get everyone to comment big, heavy, gorilla, sexy balls, maybe. You can do it if you want, but it might get flagged. So I love you all. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm really, really keen for this next episode. I'm genuinely, I'm so keen. I hope we get to see everything unfold. I definitely think everything's going to kind of go a little bit crazy. One thing I really don't want to see is I don't want to see Hondo Ohnaka. Controversial, sure. I don't want to see him. I think he's going to completely derail the importance of these kids, these characters that have been built, Jod, Brutus. I think Brutus needs a little bit more. I hope we get a full episode with him and kind of being more of a villain. I just think he's going to take away. I love it. I love him so much. Don't get me wrong. I love him so much, but I don't want him there. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao, bitches.